Before we start the actual creation of the projects, let's talk about each of the key technologies being used. Across both projects, there are three HTML and related technologies that are being used: content editable, drag and drop, and local storage. Let's start with content editable. Basically, this feature makes any page area editable in the browser. It uses a single attribute, content editable of course, which can be set to equal to true, equal to false, used by itself, which means true, or inherit, where it will take on the content editable characteristics of its parent. Browser support for content editable is just totally off the charts. I was stunned when I looked this up. As you can see, support goes all the way back to Internet Explorer 7. This website, if you're not familiar with caniuse.com, is an essential tool for anyone who's working in HTML5 and related technologies to see what's possible in what browsers. Now let's take a look at drag and drop. There are two different aspects to drag and drop. There is a HTML5 attribute, and there's a fairly robust JavaScript API. On the HTML side, we have one attribute called draggable, and it's very similar to content editable in that it can be set to true, false, inherit, or just insert it by itself without any equal sign. And if you do it that way, it means that it is draggable. There are 7 different JavaScript events, everything from drag start to drop. These are all used extensively in any drag and drop functionality. There is one key related object that I want to mention, and that's data transfer. As the name implies, this is used to transfer the data from a dragged object. It is initially set in drag start, and then it is put in the drop event. There's pretty good browser support for drag and drop. Let's take a look at Can I Use? As you can see, pretty much all the major players are in line with drag and drop, although we are waiting for Internet Explorer 10 to come out. Finally, let's take a look at local storage. Local storage is very straightforward to use for all that it does, and it does a really wonderful thing. It brings the concept of state to websites without relying on server-side coding. And unlike cookie, which is also used to convey states, it is stored in the browser. It has a much larger limit than cookies, 5 megabytes versus 4 kilobytes, and it uses a very simple name-value pair structure for strings only. Although there are a few other commands for local storage, most of the time you'll be using these two, setItem and getItem. SetItem takes 2 arguments. The first is the name of the item that you're setting, and the second argument is its value. For getItem, you only need the name. Browser support-wise, we're pretty good. Let's take a look again at Can I Use? And I think we have as solid a support as we've seen for almost any other HTML5 technology. Overall, I think the technologies involved in these projects are full-featured and pretty well supported across the browsers. So let's go build those projects.